Josh Dewitt, former Palisade running back, former Mesa State running back as well. Good morning, Josh. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Jim?
Doing fine. We're going to take a little trip down memory lane, go back to 94 when you guys won that first state title game. What's your first memories of that team, Josh, when you think about that 94 squad?
Oh, just the group of older guys that were on the team. They had really set the tone, many years before getting into the weight room and working hard. And that really, led us younger guys, throughout the rest of our high school careers. It was a fun time to be playing football in the Valley.
Well, and certainly, like I said, you had some older guys in that football team that, the Ben Steels, Bones, and guys like that were a part of that. Of course, Ben has gone on to play and coach in the NFL. But for the first couple of state championship games, Brandon Hickey, man, Boomer, big part of your success of that football team, what you guys did with that option attack.
Yeah, he was hard to stop. He really knew, when to bait those D ends in and when to pitch it out to the running backs on the outside. Just a phenomenal, person, quarterback. I mean, he did a phenomenal job for us. He was a team leader, kind of the team leader on that team, and set the tone for the rest of us. How to work hard and really get out there and give everything you had on the field.
Josh Dewitt, who was a running back for the 94 state champion Palisade Bulldogs, with us on the Jim Davis Show on the team. And look, as good as the backs were, yourself and others in that backfield, and Brandon Hickey, that offensive line, that, of course, you guys had great offensive lines year in and year out through the 90s and even into the 2000s to the 2003 team that won the state title, Palisade, for Todd Caspear. Joe Romano had outstanding offensive lines. Talk a little bit about that group that was in front of you, open up those holes for you back in 94.
Yeah, that was my sophomore year. So I ran a little bit. I got into a couple playoff games. I played a lot of defense that year, but we had Brian Havelston anchor in the center, which, I mean, if anybody knows Habby, he's a tank. I mean, just one of the strongest guys I've ever met, including in college. Burke, another great offensive lineman. Bobby Mitchell was on that O-line. We had Higley in there anchoring as well for us as a sophomore. It was easy for us running backs to run through those holes. I can remember playing in JV games my freshman and sophomore year, playing running back, and you get up to that varsity level, it's a big difference. And the holes those guys opened up were just huge, and it made us running backs, it made our job easy.
Of the older running backs in that team, who are the guys that you looked up to the most, Josh, and maybe learned some things from, tried to maybe emulate a little bit when you got the chance to tote the rock?
Well, Mike Lively at fullback was unreal. Just a little fire plug. He'd run through a wall for our team and for coach, and so and that was kind of the whole team mentality. But and then it was Tyler Hawkins was a freshman that year, and he was one of the starting running backs. The kid was, just worked hard, had great speed, and same deal, anything you ask of him, he would do. So even as a sophomore, Tyler and Mike were great guys. Kevin Travis was running the ball quite a bit that year as well. Just another hard worker. We didn't have the most talent in the world, but we were definitely going to outwork you.
Josh Dewitt played running back, also played defense for the Palisade Bulldogs that are 94 team. We've talked about the offensive side a lot. You were part of that defensive crew that got to the state title game against Cheyenne Mountain. Take us through the defense and some of the guys that you felt like were key to your success on that side of the football back in 94.
You think of Justin Eggers playing linebacker for us. Again, Kevin Travis. A lot of us played both ways. We just didn't have very many kids out there for the team, and so a lot of us had to play both ways. Those two linebackers were great. Higley in the middle, just as a sophomore, just playing really well. We had some Donnie Mitchell on the outside playing in cornerback for us. Davey Moore, another name that doesn't get brought up that much, but the guy was just a great athlete and a great teammate on the outside playing corner for us. Our D ends were Ben Steele and some of some of those older guys just, and obviously Havelston and Burke anchoring it down. It made it easy for us linebackers. They'd take on two guys at once and open us up to be able to go make those tackles.
We'll give a belated birthday to Donnie Mitchell. So it was his birthday the other day. So, yeah, happy belated birthday to Donnie Mitchell, that 94 Palisade team. You mentioned Tyler Hawkins, who went on to have a phenomenal career at Palisade. Joe talks about he ran a play as like a trap play, and he made such a big cut, made a couple guys miss, and he's like, okay, he's ready to play at the varsity level. What was that for you? Because, I mean, you had an outstanding career. Obviously after that 94 team, you got a chance once again on the other side of the football and played running back at Mesa State for Coach Romano as well. But when did you know, when you saw Hawkins play, okay, this kid's a freshman, but, man, this guy's got it. He's going to be really, really good.
Well, Tyler came in, and he was probably about 20, 30 pounds bigger than me at that point. When I was a sophomore, I probably only weighed 135, 140. But I had been hearing about Tyler for years, in the middle school track scene. He was going to nationals and competing and stuff like that. I'd always heard about him. And then, when he finally got there, he comes in and he's, 20 pounds bigger than most of us, freshmen and sophomores. So
you're going, holy cow, what are they feeding this kid, right?
Exactly. He just had the physical tools to be able to come in and step in and had the body size too. I would assume he was probably in that 160 to 170 range, which is where I ended up graduating at. So, he was already that big and just a tough runner, hard to bring down, always kept pumping his legs. Kind of a north-south runner, give him the ball, make one cut and go. So that worked real well in our offense.
Josh Dewitt, member of 3 state championship teams at Palisade, joining us today talking about the 94 team. When you guys beat Cheyenne Mountain 34-26, they were undefeated. I mean, it was really considered an upset that you guys went over there and knocked them off.
Yeah, it was. That was such a up and down game. It was so fun. So many lead changes, so many big plays. For both teams. It was a fairly close game. I think it was 34-28 or 26, something like that. And just as a young sophomore, man, what a great atmosphere. Cheyenne Mountain was packed. They had a ton of people. I can remember riding in on our bus, and back then they had the entry just lined with their fans yelling at us and screaming at us, and I'm like, what the heck did we do? So, but it was, man, it was fun. You learned a lot from those games, and you learn, no matter what the score is, you got to stay in it and keep doing what you're, focus on your team and try to make the big plays and make them count.
I know the other day when I called you, you're giving me some grief that didn't include the 96 team. And I'm once again, I've many times in the program, I've had to extend the apology that was probably the biggest mistake I made in my selection of the 24 teams for this. So here's your chance. You can berate me a little bit if you want to, Josh, and tell us how great that 96 team was, because you guys were undefeated, set a team record nationally for rushing yardage that year. It was your senior year. You had a big year carrying the football for Palisade. Go ahead. Here's your chance to pile on me here for not having the 96 team in the field.
Well, that's hard. I mean, selecting between those teams, that 94 team had so many great, players that were older those years. And, when you think about Brandon Hickey, throwing him out there, he wasn't on the 95 and 96 team. So it's a hard job for you to select. But that 96 team was just special. It just offensively, we were really special. I always, us guys, we talk about it. That 95 team probably had the better defense overall, but that 96 offense was unreal. We had those, 4,000-yard rushers. Boyer still yells at me to this day about not getting 1,000-yard passing, because in one of the playoff games I put one arm up instead of two hands to try to catch the ball. So I'm never going to live that one down. But yeah, I mean, it was just it didn't matter who you put back there, and a lot of that speaks to the O line. That 96 year, rushing for 5,800 yards. That's something you still look back on and just have fond memories of. You had Rick Mobley, Matt Crow, those guys up front. Of course, Higley was still there. Our tight end, Sirianni, out walking, did a phenomenal job. I mean, so many huge blocks from him over the years. And it was just easy for us. Me and Tyler, I mean, that was cake just to run through those holes, and then we have McCall at fullback and Boyer at quarterback. So, I mean, it didn't matter who you put back there. Tyler got hurt a couple games, and Matt Clifford stepped in and played that running back position, and he's rushing for 100 yards. It was easy.
Well, of course, these days, you're an insurance agent, Farmers Insurance, out on the Redlands. Quick plug for Josh Dewitt, Farmers Insurance, since you advertise, sponsor some of our Palisade broadcasts. Here's a chance to give a quick plug.
Sure, yeah. Well, come out and see me. We're over at 2518 Monument Road. Really great home and auto prices, and we'll do everything we can to take care of you as a client.